What's good, YouTube? It's your girl Rockness Reacts, and I'm back again with another video. Finally, I'm actually recording this during the daytime, so I don't have to be as quiet. Mind you, a lot of the times I am recording at like 10 p.m. so that I can, edit it next day, keep editing if needed, things like that. But in today's video, we're actually gonna go over the Jeffrey Epstein case. This is a long video, so it is likely gonna be broken up into parts. I might do 2 parts, maybe 3. It's an hour long, likely 3 parts. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna record the whole thing and post the whole thing at once. I will chunk into some sections, so we'll watch the first part in this video and then we'll do the second and the rest after. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Like, subscribe to the channel, and let's just get straight into the reaction. All right.
In the summer of 2019, a wealthy financier named Jeffrey Epstein was arrested on charges that would shake the foundation of elites.
Mind you, I don't know. I know very little about this case. That's why I'm actually watching this video. If you as well have not watched anything or know anything about it, we're on the same page. I just know that there's a list full of very, high people in this country. Not necessarily high in value, but they have money and they're basically controlling us. So yeah, that's all I know. There's a bunch of names. I'm pretty sure Donald Trump is included. I heard that the case files were ready and to be seen, then all of a sudden they disappeared. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. I don't know a lot about the situation. I actually told my mom the other day about it, and I couldn't tell her the whole thing. All I told her was about how Donald Trump may be in the case files. That's why they like all of a sudden said, oh, like, I don't know what happened to the case, like we do not have it within us. But let me stop chatting.
Society and his subsequent death in a Manhattan jail cell would only deepen the mystery surrounding one of the most disturbing criminal networks in modern American history. This is a story of Jeffrey Epstein. Not just the man, but the system that protected him, and the powerful people who...
Right, it's literally the system and the others. This is Epstein, and who is this guy? I forgot.
Enabled him, and the web of just...
Right.
Straight up corruption that continues to this day. And what you're about to hear is based entirely on documented facts, court records, investigative journalism, and sworn-in testimony. I will not speculate. We'll let the evidence just speak for itself. But by the end, you'll understand why so many people believe there's far more to the story than we've ever been told. And also, I like my life. I really like living, and I don't plan on leaving anytime.
Girl, you better be careful.
I'm soon. Crime, conspiracy, sick, twisted, intellectual, beautiful-minded freak. And today we are getting into something controversial, but I think something that needs to be spoken about because it's way bigger than any of us know. And I just want to keep talking about it. I don't want it to go under the rug like some other...
I like her because she's spitting facts and she's actually informing people about the situation,
Elites really do. So let's just put these people on blast. So without further ado, let's unbuckle our seatbelt.
Word.
Let's go Mach 5 down the highway, slam on the brakes, and bust through this windshield into this absolute horrifying storm together.
I love it. This is low-key fire. Yeah.
Jeffrey Edward Epstein was born on January 20th, 1953, in the Coney Island section of Brooklyn, New York. And his father, Seymour, worked as a groundskeeper for the New York City Parks Department. And his mother, Paula, was a homemaker who later worked for an insurance agency. By all accounts, it was a normal, middle-class Jewish household in Seagate, Brooklyn. And Epstein was exceptionally gifted in mathematics. He skipped 2 grades and actually graduated from Lafayette High School at just the age of 16. And he briefly attended Cooper Union and New York University, but never actually completed a college degree, which is notable for later accounts. Okay, keep that in the back of your mind, because this detail is crucial. Because despite having no credentials and no teaching experience and no college degree, in 1974, he was hired to teach mathematics. And
I hope he took like an exam or something to where, no, fuck that. All these teachers gotta go through school, get their degree, then become a teacher. He shouldn't have the opportunity to become a teacher without going through the same process as every other teacher. That's just fucked up. Straight up.
Physics at one of the most elite private schools in Manhattan, which was the Dalton School. So how does a college dropout get hired at a school that...
You tell me, girl.
...caters to children of billionaires, diplomats, and Wall Street titans? Huh. Weird. Well, Donald Barr, father of future Attorney General William Barr, was indeed the headmaster of Dalton and a former intelligence officer with the Office of Strategic Services and the predecessor to the CIA. However, Barr resigned in February of 1974 with his departure effective that summer, while Epstein began teaching in September of 1974. This suggests the hiring occurred under internship leadership, though Barr may have influenced the decision before his departure, so he may have put a good word in for Epstein to be a part, to teach. But this was just Epstein's entry point into elite society and his first contact with the children of the ultra-wealthy. And according to parents at the time, Epstein was reportedly inappropriate with female students, even then. And it just gets significantly worse as we go on. Also, just to preface, I'm talking about Jeffrey Epstein today, but we're also going into what's happening today and why it's important that we're talking about it today, because extremely dumb stuff is still happening even after the whole debacle with him, but we'll get into that. And here is where he also made the connection that would change his life forever. Because at a parent-teacher conference, Epstein so impressed the father of one of his students that the man referred him to Alan Greenberg, the CEO of Bear Stearns. And despite admitting he didn't know what a stock or bond was, which I even know, and I'm me, I don't know, seems like pretty basic, But even though
it's actually not. It's somewhat is, because you do learn about economics in high school. I guess, yeah, it is. She's not wrong.
Didn't know what that was, what it entailed, anything about it. Within 4 years, he became the youngest limited partner in the firm's history, which is just unheard of, unprecedented, not a thing, just not a thing. But in 1981, Epstein was asked to leave Bear Stearns for what he later described under oath as Reg D violation, a securities law violation, basically. And most people would see this as the end of their Wall Street career. That's like done. You're out of there. You can't get a job there anymore. But for Epstein, it's just the beginning. So after leaving Bear Stearns, Epstein founded his own consulting firm, claiming to work only with billionaires. Clients with more than $1 billion in assets, which is...
We'll probably get 20 minutes into this first half. Then another 20. Okay, yeah, 3 parts for sure.
Absolutely insane to go from basically violating rules to consulting for strictly billionaires. Why is he trustworthy? Again, I don't know. But here's where the story gets murky. Because to this day, only one billionaire client has ever been publicly identified, which is suspicious, needless to say. And that person is Leslie Wexner, the founder of Victoria's Secret and L Brands. And the relationship
You're fucking lying.
Between Epstein and Wexner was extraordinary and unprecedented. And in July of 1991, Wexner granted Epstein full power of attorney over his finances, which is a sweeping authority that lasted until 2007. And for those of you who don't understand what that means, basically it meant that Epstein could sign checks.
The CEO, like authority, like he literally has power in the company.
Buy and sell properties, borrow money, and make legally binding decisions on behalf of one of America's richest men. It's just, again, just unprecedented, doesn't make sense. It is insane to just have some guy be able to sign for, buy this thing, but do all of this stuff, basically a legal guardian, essentially. It's like Jeffrey Epstein was his dad and had to like sign for everything. It's crazy. It's, again, suspicious. And the transfer of Wexner's Manhattan townhouse to Epstein involved multiple stages that reveal the depth of their relationship. Because Wexner purchased this property at 9 East 71st Street for $13.2 million in 1989. I
1989. I'm pretty sure she was saying Brooklyn, New York, purchased a building for $13.9 million. This kid, no experience in college degree, just got boosted up into the wealth, like with all the wealthy people, given power to a whole company, purchases a building.
Drop in the bucket, right? Wrong. And around 1996, he transferred the title to Epstein for how much do you think? How much do you think he made?
So the owner of the company purchased the building, okay? And he put the name to Jeffrey's, I'm gonna say like 13 million, probably a mil. Please don't say free.
He made his basically legal guardian pay for this place. $0.
What the fuck?
Nothing.
For free?
Gave it to him for free. Let him transfer that title over.
Can you please just hear me out? No, all work management platforms are the same. They take forever to learn, and in the end,
that's weird. And in 2011, the property was formally transferred to an Epstein-controlled entity. And federal prosecutors would later value this mansion, the largest private residence in New York City, the most expensive city to live in the world, basically, at $77 million in 2019. So Epstein just used his connection to Wexner to gain credibility in elite circles. And he would present himself as a, quote, global talent scout for Victoria's Secret, using this role to manipulate young women and girls. And the mansion Wexner gave him for $0 would later be found to contain hidden cameras in every single room, every single bathroom, and every single bedroom, which is disgusting. And also suspicious, because why would you have cameras in every single room? It's almost like he needed them to be able to blackmail people. Like billionaires, maybe? Billionaires that haven't been identified? That's crazy. Because Epstein wasn't just collecting wealth. He was collecting people. Because his social circle was a who's who of global power and influence. And court documents and public records reveal associations with former presidents Bill Clinton and Donald Trump, and Britain's Prince Andrew, former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak, actor Kevin Spacey, magician David Copperfield, lawyer Alan Dershowitz, former New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson, and former Vice President Al Gore. And obviously, I'm not saying, because there's no evidence currently that any of those people are guilty of anything in terms of Jeffrey Epstein, but you just do what you want with that information. And also, in the scientific community, Epstein cultivated relationships with Nobel Prize-winning physicists, including Frank Wilczek of MIT, Gerard Hooft of physicists, including...
So, I don't mean to be, a bitch, but what the fuck is this? why is half of his head bald and then the other half? Like, cut your hair. You
Frank
too.
Wilczek of MIT, Gerard Hoof.
Yeah, look at these. What I'm really trying to show y'all is this, bro. Look. That's him right there. I gotta make sure the whole video is in here. Okay.
Of Erect University, David Gross and Murray.
What the fuck is going on with these haircuts?
MIT,
One,
Gerard Hoof
two.
of Erect University, David Gross and
What? Okay, I'm not.
Murray Gell-Mann, who discovered the cork, and he funded conferences attended by theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking, you know, this guy, Harvard's Lisa Randall, MIT's Alan Guth, Caltech's Kit Thorne, and at Harvard, his connections included
Cut that shit off. And this guy, good job for cutting your hair.
Epstein cult of Murray Gell-Mann, who discovered the cork, and he funded conferences attended by theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking, you know, this guy, Harvard's Lisa Randall, MIT's Alan Guth, Caltech's Kit.
Shout out to you for cutting your hair. You are very smart, mature for that. Thank you.
Thorne, and at Harvard, his connections included mathematical biologist Martin Nowak, cognitive scientist Stephen Kosling, former Dean Henry Rozovsky, and geneticist George Church. So those names, a lot of those names might mean nothing to you, but essentially I'm just painting this picture of his elite circle. And again,
don't know any of them, except one, I think.
Not saying any of these people have done anything, obviously, besides Jeffrey Epstein, because we know he's just a walking waste of everything. But he clearly surrounded himself with elite people and spent time with them. Who knows what they were doing? But that, again, they're...
Okay. I'll say my piece.
Information. Because Epstein hosted exclusive gatherings that mixed science with high society, including a 2006 gravity conference in the Virgin Islands organized by physicist Lawrence Krauss. So Jeffrey was just a fixture at high society events, scientific conferences, and exclusive parties, using his wealth.
One very good thing that he did was definitely surrounding himself with wealthy people. I guess that was his goal because he grew up in Brooklyn, New York, again, like she said. And that's very good. Always surround yourself with, that's also my goal. You know, surround myself with wealthy individuals who have the drive to become better and wealthy and healthy and overall just a better human being, which is very important. So those people he put himself around was very strategic.
And connections to position himself at the center of elite intellectual and social circles. And all while he was building his criminal enterprise. So starting in the late 1990s and early 2000s, Epstein created what prosecutors would later describe as, quote, a vast network, unquote, for the exploitation of minors. And the operation was sophisticated, organized, and deliberately designed to avoid detection, as we know. But here's how it worked. Epstein and his associates, primarily Ghislaine Maxwell, who we will talk about later, I'll tell you what, would recruit vulnerable girls, many from broken homes, many who had experienced prior abuse, specifically because they were easier to mold, which is so sad and
Fuck
sick.
that.
But they targeted girls at malls, schools, even Mar-a-Lago, where one 14-year-old victim was working as a locker room attendant. And the recruitment followed a pattern. Girls were initially offered legitimate work, babysitting, receptionist duties, or what was described as, quote, massage therapy. And they were told they could make good money, meet important people, even get help with their education or careers. They were just taking advantage of these innocent girls that didn't know any better and that had literally nowhere else to go. So once recruited, the girls were gradually groomed, because what started as clothed massages slowly became more and more sexual in nature. And Epstein and Maxwell would normalize the behavior by discussing sexual topics, being present when girls undressed, and just slowly escalated to physical contact. Just monsters.
Monsters. Like, not even fuck monsters. Cause what's a goon to a goblin? Nothing. They ain't scared of nothing. On some fucking bullshit.
I've recently come to learn that a lot of founders and marketers don't quite know how to look up the competitors' marketing strategies. I personally like it.
Incomprehensible. I mean, it is comprehensible because, I mean, I talk about these people all the time, but there's something about knowing the people that run things, that are in charge of things, very important things, are these people. It's just a whole nother subject matter. It's a whole nother massive issue. Again, that's why I'm talking about it. And I know we're talking about somebody who's dead, but somebody is alive right now, and that is Ghislaine Maxwell, because she's having a great time in prison right now. But again, we'll talk about that later. But anyway, here's the most insidious part of all of this, because Epstein paid his victims to recruit other girls. So he made his victims get new victims for him, and Maxwell did as well. She was fully part of this. So every time a victim brought him a new girl, both the recruiter and the new victim would be paid hundreds of dollars in cash. And this just created what prosecutors called a, quote, pyramid scheme of abuse, which it absolutely was. It was a self-sustaining system where the victims themselves became unwitting accomplices in their own exploitation. Just incredibly fucked up. And the scope of this network has been documented through multiple investigations. The 2005 to 2006 Palm Beach police investigation identified 34 confirmed minor victims, while investigative journalist Julie K. Brown identified 80 potential victims in her groundbreaking Miami Herald reporting. And court records show victims were as young as 13 to 14 years old, which is heartbreaking. And the controversial 2008 non-prosecution agreement referenced 40 victims eligible for restitution, though the true number is likely much higher. I guarantee it's much higher. I can confidently say that. Possibly in the hundreds or even the thousands. But at the center of Epstein's operation was Ghislaine Maxwell. So Maxwell was the ninth and youngest daughter of British media tycoon Robert Maxwell, and she was Epstein's closest confidant, his primary recruiter, and, according to prosecutors, an active participant in the abuse against minors. And Ghislaine's background is crucial to understanding this entire story. So her father, Robert Maxwell, was a larger-than-life figure, a war hero, and a member of parliament, and a
That's how this nigga looks. Wait, let me find a good one that matches his face. Ugh. Y'all call this ugly? Like, what the fuck? They think we're all stupid.
Media baron. And he was also widely suspected, and this is suspected, this is alleged, I am not saying this at all, I'm just saying what's suspected, of being an asset of Israeli intelligence, which is Mossad. Again, this is just...
Oh my goodness. What the actual fuck?
Highly suspected and speculated, but not proven. Covering all my bases here. And it's especially suspicious because when he died mysteriously on November 5th, 1991, his body was found floating in the Atlantic Ocean near his yacht, which was named Lady Ghislaine, and the official cause was ruled as a heart attack, combined with accidental drowning. Though the circumstances remain very controversial, which you'll find a lot of during and even now this whole case. There's a lot of weird, mysterious deaths at really good timing in really weird circumstances. And also, he was given a state funeral in Israel attended by prime ministers and Mossad officials. That's not normal if you're not a part of Mossad, but what do I know? I don't know. So with that all aside, whatever, you know? It is what it is. Ghislaine would move to New York, and this is where she would meet Epstein. And there are conflicting accounts about when they first met. Some sources claim Robert Maxwell introduced them in the late 1980s, while mainstream accounts place their meetings in the early 1990s at a New York party. But I don't know. Mainstream accounts seems like they're not very reliable nowadays. So what do I know? And court testimony confirms they were definitely associated by February of 1993, with their relationship initially romantic, but evolving into something more like a business partner and obviously enabler. Talking about these Tell's role in Epstein's operation was extensive and methodical. According to victim testimony presented at trial, she befriended vulnerable teenagers, learned about their families and needs, and then normalized these massages and nudity, and sometimes undressing herself or being present during the abuse like we were talking about before. She scheduled encounters, directed staff, and used her credibility and access to elite spaces to lure victims. So she was very much just as accountable as Jeffrey Epstein. Hence why she's in jail now, but we'll get to that. And evidence included Epstein's flight logs and Maxwell's address books, photos, and Palm Beach household manual reflecting strict control over the residences. So the scope and pattern of Maxwell's conduct spanned properties in Manhattan, Palm Beach, New Mexico, and elsewhere from at least 1994 through to 2004. And victims described how, after initial encounters, they were paid and then encouraged to bring other girls, turning Epstein's scheme into a self-perpetuating pipeline. And victims would describe Maxwell as the madame or madam of the entire operation. Basically, a person who controlled the girls, maintained Epstein's standards through intimidation, and ensured a steady supply of new victims. Just a disgusting human being. And as one survivor put it, quote, Ghislaine controlled the girls. She was like the nuts and bolts of the sex trafficking operation. So in 2005, Epstein's world should have come crashing down because a 14-year-old girl and her parents reported to Palm Beach police that Epstein had escorted her at his Florida mansion. And the local investigation quickly expanded as more victims came forwards. Case closed. Guy's a creep, right?
Right.
Wrong, as we know. Because Palm Beach police would build a strong case, identifying dozens of victims and gathering substantial evidence. And the case was referred to the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office in South Florida, which was led by Alex Acosta. And federal prosecutors began building what should have been an ironclad case for sex trafficking. But then something unprecedented happened. Despite having evidence of abuse involving dozens of minors,
kids, yeah.
Despite having victim testimony and physical evidence, prosecutors agreed to a secret deal that remains one of the most controversial plea agreements in American legal history. because a 2008 non-prosecution agreement allowed Epstein to plead guilty to just 2 state charges, which were soliciting prostitution and soliciting prostitution from a minor. Both terrible, but not even close to what was happening behind closed doors. And he would only serve 13 months in county jail. And even then, he was allowed to leave jail 12 hours of the day, 6 days a week for, quote, work release.
You're fucking lying. Okay, we're gonna watch about 1 minute.
I can't even
one more minute.
It's so corrupt and
yeah.
This is what we know.
This is so fucked up. Okay, 23, 24. All right, I'm gonna end the first section of this video there. I'm gonna start editing it, and then I'm gonna also continue watching the rest of this. We'll have 2 more sections of this video. And yeah, okay, so basically this is insane. We kind of got the backstory of his case, I'm assuming, and basically the whole story kind of there. Like, it's just fucked up. It's just like the people at the top are helping this man. I'm assuming they're blackmailed by him. Again, I am assuming, but based off what he has done and the power he has in our capitalist country of a country is actually insane. So, but this is a pretty cool video. I fuck with it, so I'm gonna continue watching it. Hope you guys like this video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, let's go.